My name is Noma Tamsangamdlazi. I create content on mental wellness and personal development. I hope that wherever you are doing well, you are thriving, and you're just ready to take on the full burden of life. You're just ready to go full force into the kind of person that you're meant to be. So this is Life Simplified, a podcast where we discuss all the inspirational, relevant information for your personal development. We try to dig deeper on the core values of humanity to see through how much possible for us to live a more deliberate, a more intentional kind of life. Because the truth is that without any intention towards life, towards existence itself, you will fail dismally and you will struggle in quite a lot of things. You will find yourself in circumstances which you would have avoided if you knew how to structure your life such that you're more deliberate, you're more intentional. So as a community, we're currently sitting at close to 30 subscribers. My intent is really in this pursuit to just deliver the best conversations, right? So if you haven't subscribed to our community, please do make sure that you subscribe, you join our community so that we could just grow together. So if you have subscribed already, I truly and deeply thank you for becoming a part of this community. Thank you so much. Different techniques on engaging better with the everyday life, right? The most important thing about these techniques, they'll help you become more deliberate, more intentional about everything, right? And most importantly is that you could control the outcomes of your life. I'm not just saying that when you do this, abracadabra, this will be this, right? But the most important thing is that you could shape the direction of your life at the end of the day, right? That's truly the most important thing, right? And when you live a life, you can live a life in which you're truly more intentional about all your pursuits. And the outcomes is that you will have truly rich experiences towards life itself, towards existence itself. When you wake up tomorrow, you will live a life in which you are just truly proud of, and you understand that even if you may not have been able to achieve some of the other stuff that you've planned for yourself, but most importantly is that you are fully present towards your life. You are just fully present towards your pursuit, towards existence itself, right? So I need you to truly understand that you need a strategy, you need techniques towards existence itself. You can't just live. You can't just live. Or else if you live in any way, then you will struggle very deeply to control the outcomes of your life. You won't live a life in which you could be proud of at the end of the day, a life in which you could eliminate quite a lot of mistakes, quite a lot of regrets. You will fall into the trap of misery, and that is where all of us are constantly trying to run away from. Even the people who go into taverns, who are just drug addicts, they are just constantly trying to shift as far as possible from misery. So the most important thing is to shift is to shift the right way from misery. Because now if you go into drugs, if you go into alcohol, you actually make the entire situation worse, and the entire cycle of your life that has to be truly engaging, that has to be truly intentional, is messed up simply because you fail to take out responsibility for your life in a manner that in which you could be truly intentional. But just before we get into the techniques themselves, I want you to understand that life is a privilege, right? So it is truly important for you to embrace your unique being as a person, right? Even when you look into history, there's never been someone like you. In the present, there's just no one like you, right? There's just only yourself, someone who's exactly the person you are. And in the future, going forward, you may live up until 80 to 100 years, but there will really never be anyone like you after that 100th year, right? There will never be anyone like you. The first thing I need you to understand is that life is a privilege, and life is truly just a treasure in which you should just continue to acknowledge, to appreciate. You don't have a reason, therefore, to be trying to fake someone else's life, to be living someone else's life. The only important thing is truly the ability to embrace your unique being and stick to that person, work out on yourself, and finding the best version of yourself at the end of the day, right? So it truly is important for you to understand that before you get onto these techniques, you understand that life is a privilege, and just existence itself, it is a privilege, and you're just unique in your own way, and you don't have a reason, therefore, to be trying to fake someone else's lives and just living someone else's life, because at the end of the day, you will struggle very deeply in quite a lot of things. So imagine this is a marathon, right? Everyone has their own lanes, right? And whenever you are trying, instead of running your own marathon, your own race, you are busy distracting other people. You are running through in their own lane. That is such a distracting way to live. You will mess because now you are busy running in their own lane. They will be like, right? So uzobe ufeze olukabani ke wena ugqatso when you are busy faking your life by running in other people's lanes. You should be fully present in your lane, and you run your race, you stick to it. No matter how difficult it is, you don't have a reason to fake someone else's life. So the most important thing is really the ability to understand that life is a privilege, and you should truly embrace the kind of person you are. You stick to that person. You are your unique being as a person, right? The other really important thing Robert Greene talks about is that you are a one-time phenomenon. There has never been someone like you. There is no one like you in the present, and there will no. After you die, there will never be someone like you going forward. So you don't have a reason really to fake your life, to live a life that is not honest, that is not truthful to yourself. And it is such a distracting way to live. The other really important thing I need to understand is that life is an engagement process, right? It is you versus existence. It is you versus life itself, right? And the most important thing is working out and understanding that the goal of life is living in agreement with nature. You should have an agreement towards existence itself. To understand that it is truly a privilege for you to exist in one way or another. So if you have that kind of mindset as a person, you understand that life is an engagement process. It is yourself versus existence. You can actually understand quite a lot of things better, right, than just waking up in the morning and you don't understand what's actually going on. Because I spoke earlier that life is a privilege. So even just existence itself, it is a privilege. Because when you die, Seneca talks about this, that remember that when you die, you will be dead much, much longer. So therefore, life itself is a privilege, and you don't have a reason to spend most of your time in misery. The most important thing is really the ability to appreciate every moment and understand that life is an engagement process. It is yourself versus existence. The third part I need you to understand is that it is important for you to focus on effort and not the outcomes, right? So it is truly important in your pursuit towards life to understand that no matter the outcomes, no matter the outcomes at the end of the day, the most important thing is truly the ability to be fully present on your effort towards existence itself, right? It truly is important for you to prioritize effort. Don't underestimate your effort towards existence itself. Things may manifest differently because it's just nature. Things work out their own way, right? But it truly is important for you in any pursuit towards existence. You do have dreams, and you might feel that your dreams are shattered in one way or another. But the most important thing, the most important mindset that you need towards existence itself is understanding that putting in effort in really being able to manifest your dreams, to manifest your imagination, to just manifest your illusions towards existence itself. That's the most important part. And how things manifest at the end of the day is not really up to your control, right? It is just not. You can just shape the direction of your life and just live more peacefully and more content as a person, right? Jordan Peterson also talks about this as well, that it's from the uphill climb that we derive our value, not the summit, right? So you need an understanding that you need to put in effort towards existence. You need to understand that life itself, it's a process, right? It does not necessarily mean that when you've lived, it's when you've climbed the summit, you are at the summit already. But the core essence of existence itself, it is the process. It is a process. It's a process, because you realize that when you get to that summit, there'll be more mountains to climb. So it truly is important for you to just find joy and find appreciation and experience this dopamine surge in climbing the mountains themselves, right? So you need such a powerful understanding towards existence itself, to be more intentional about really climbing those mountains, to get to as close as possible to that imaginary world, to that illusion you have about life itself, right? That is just the core essence of existence, to understand that you need to be more intentional about the process itself, about the effort itself, no matter how the outcomes really manifest at the end of the day. But the most important thing is the intent to wake up and live fully to your level best, as much as it is highly possible for yourself. Not that in relation to the other person or whatever, or in comparison to the other person, but really in comparison to yourself and where you want to be in whatever given time. So it is important for you to understand that in life, events may manifest differently, and it is important for us to be more intentional about really appreciating the process, understanding that nature has its own way of doing things. And with yourself, things might be different. It might give you different circumstances. Yours is to just work out on those circumstances and just embrace them, and just embrace the fact of existence itself. So these are the 10 life techniques you need towards existence itself, towards life itself. Number 1, start your day with an ease, right? It is very important for you to understand that according to science has shown us that when you wake up in the morning, your brain is malleable, your brain is sensitive, right? So when you wake up in the morning, it is very important for you to focus on yourself, to derive gratitude. If you have to pray, you pray. If you want to meditate, you meditate, right? You just fully focus on yourself and connecting with the Creator Himself, right? That is just the best strategy. That's the best way to start your day, right? So when you wake up in the morning, you don't go to social media. You don't check who said what. You don't think about your previous problems. You don't think about your problems, the problems you have or you've encountered yesterday, but you fully focus on really the ability to fully immerse yourself in that moment, in the eternity of that morning. You focus on yourself. You make time to just spend time with yourself, and it doesn't necessarily have to be this long, but you can decide how long you want to do it, right? But in the morning, you just have this intent to start your day with an ease, start your day without so much effort. Imagine waking up and just thinking about your problems. That is just a distracting way to live. You will not be able to acquire and fully experience the eternity of this moment or the eternity of this day, because you're constantly in a cycle of thinking about your problems, right? And it's very unfortunate that you never get to a point where you don't really have problems, especially if you have always had this kind of cycle where you always think about your problems. You always think about the things you're supposed to do as a person. So it's very important for you to understand that your mornings are just a powerful moments for you to start your day the right way. So if you could start your day that way, it doesn't matter how many events manifest at the end of the day, but it truly is important for you to start your day with an ease. When you wake up in the morning, you're just more intentional about the things you do. You decide to read the scripture, you meditate, you focus on yourself, and you just appreciate, even if it's just a few minutes. It is very important. It is very important for you to have this rejuvenating feeling towards life itself, because you have time to just think through about yourself, to think about yourself, and just derive this privilege to understand that really life is a privilege, and it is just a privilege for you to have woken up for that morning, right? So the most important thing when you start your day is to just start your day with an ease, and don't focus on social media or think about your problems or do whatever, but focus on yourself and the creator himself. You focus on either, it could be meditation, anything that has to do to help you focus on yourself. Even if you want to just sit and think, do that. You just make time to be by yourself as a person, and to just derive gratitude towards existence itself. Technique number 2, it says that talk less about yourself and others and your judgments of them, right? So find something to talk about that's not other people and your judgments of them. So it truly is important for you to structure your conversations with people, to understand that not every time when you talk to people you talk about yourself or you talk about others. So when you talk about yourself, you seem to be this selfish type of person. You don't really have interest to the person you're actually conversing with, right? And you don't really have to be talking about yourself every time, right? Yes, you can say just a few things, right? But you should be more intentional about talking too much about yourself, because the other person might think that you're just full of yourself, yonke into ingawe elifeni. And yes, at the same time, you shouldn't be talking about other people and your judgments of them. That always makes you someone who is just very problematic and in one way or another. It's very unfortunate that our parents have taught us quite a lot of things, respect and everything, right? But when we get on older, there's some of the things that we just struggle to navigate. That's why it is important for us to be more intentional about really reinventing ourselves and learning, understanding that life is a learning process itself, and learning does not come to a point where no, it doesn't end. It is just a process. So it should be more intentional about really the ability to talk less about yourself, and not really have this constant urge of talking badly about other people. You should be truly intentional about the things you say to other people, about other people, because it will make you seem a truly bad person, because all you care about, all you can talk about is just negativity and crap about other people, right? So it truly is important for you to be more intentional about really talking less, not saying much about yourself, and also not saying too much or talking badly about other people, right? Because people at some point, they will start to undermine you, because you always have this energy of saying bad things about other people, right? So it truly is important for you to just be truly intentional about that, because that is just how as well you could build your reputation very nicely, because now you know what kind of jokes to say, what things to say, instead of really talking about yourself too much or talking about other people. But 3 says that happiness is a skill, not a circumstance. Practice it, right? You need happiness to be able to make the right decisions towards life itself. It helps you make decisions from a position where you're just at ease, and you can think thoroughly. You can think through in any given circumstance, right? So you need happiness, you need a state of contentment, you need a state of so much ease for you to pursue life in a truly intentional and more deliberate kind of way, right? So you can't just live. You need to be more intentional about teaching yourself the skill of happiness. I've been saying this, that ever since I've learned to be more intentional about my happiness, I just really on an average day, I'm a truly happy and a more content type of person, because I'm just more intentional about understanding that there's no one no one could mess my day up. No one, just absolutely no one. I have a choice to either respond to whatever in any given circumstance. But at the end of the day, that does not necessarily mean that has to mess up my day. So you need to understand that as well, that happiness is a skill, and you should be truly intentional about practicing that skill and just applying it in your everyday life, because it is just much healthier. It is truly a healthy state of existence when you understand that at least on an average day in your life, you're just truly a happy type of person. And not that you should be laughing or doing quite a lot of things, but at least the most important part is that your heart has to be at peace, and it does not constantly struggle from carrying reactions of people who are struggling with their own problems themselves, because there's quite a lot of people who are struggling, and if you laugh and you make whatever, you seem to be a truly happy person, they will always try to project that upon you, and you have a choice to either accept those negative projections, or whether you could just fully focus on yourself and just be more intentional about how you live, how you sustain your happiness as a person, right? So it is important for you to understand that other people are struggling, right? And you don't necessarily have to always absorb that negativity from them. You can choose how you want to portray your life. You can choose how you want to navigate your life in a manner that is just truly happy, that is truly more consistent when it comes to happiness itself, right? Number 4 says that choose the right allies to mingle with, right? Choose the right friends. Choose the right people to live with, to spend most of your time with, right? I don't really have best friends, but I'm someone who can make casual friends at any given circumstance. I'm very good with that, right? Because I think I do have best friends from my family, wherever, but therefore I don't necessarily need them. So it is important for you to understand that you should be truly intentional about finding the right people to mingle with in any given circumstance, right? Just as I always choose people who are just generally more happier, who are just more just generous and just truly genuinely happy as a person, right? So those are the people I always try to mingle with at any given circumstance. So it is important for you to be truly intentional about the people you spend most of your time with, because ultimately you will have to, in one way or another, you might have to absorb that energy from them, and you don't want to absorb negativity. You don't want to absorb people who talk crap or who say negative stuff about people, but you want to be able to get to a point where you can control the outcomes of quite a lot of things, including friendship itself. So you should build the right friendships, just good relations with people who are just genuinely happy. Just be more intentional in your pursuit towards friends and the people who you mingle with at some point. Number 5 says that time is precious, respect it, right? It is very important for you to understand that you should be truly intentional about respecting time, right? Time is money, time is everything. And if you struggle to understand that time is everything, you will struggle in quite a lot of things towards existence itself, towards life, towards this process of engaging better with the everyday life. You need to understand that time is perfect. When time is perfect, things will manifest the way you want them. But when it is not, it is time for you to put in effort so that events, maybe they could manifest the way you want things to be, then they will, right? So it is important for you to understand that timing is everything. Time is perfect, time is just precious, and it demands that you should be truly intentional about respecting time itself, to be truly intentional about understanding that Time deserves our just utmost respect, and if we fail to respect time, we will fail quite a lot of things towards life. We will just struggle deeply simply because we fail to respect time, because time is money, time is everything, right? It is very important for all of us to understand how to leverage this understanding of towards time itself, because if we fail to understand to respect time and what it has the capacity to give us, we will fail dismally in quite a lot of things, right? The most important thing about time is really the ability to be fully present with your life, to be fully present with each and every moment of it, right? Because when you wake up tomorrow, you will wake up to have had truly rich and deeply good experiences towards life itself. So it is very important for us to understand that once you lose time, you can never gain it again. Time lost, it is just time lost. You will never have it going forward. So it is important for all of us to understand that when timing is perfect, timing is everything towards life itself. So number 6 says that if you're unhappy of something, change it. Change your mindset or perspective, right? There's quite a lot of us who struggle in quite a lot of things simply because we fail to look at whatever circumstance and whatever challenge through a different perspective. We just fail dismally, and we always stick to this perception that this is problematic, this is whatever. We don't really have a strategy on how best to look at the entire situation itself, right? So Ryan Holiday, the author of The Ego is the Enemy, and what's the other book he's read? He's written quite a lot of books, especially historic books. And the other one that I've read before, it says the obstacle is the way, turning adversity to advantage. So he says that if you look at an obstacle from a different angle, it loses control over you, right? So if you can be strategic enough towards life itself, to look at your circumstances, to look at your problems from different perspective, you will struggle differently because you have just a different perspective. You have a different angle in which you look at some of the struggles you have towards existence itself. So you shouldn't be looking at some of your problems in one way only. You should be constantly thinking about different ways to think through in whatever circumstance, in whatever struggle you have. So you should really be more intentional about really your strategy and how you look at things. That's the most important thing about life itself. Because yes, you may be going through whatever, but the fact is that there's quite a lot of people who are going through that. There's quite a lot of people who have went through the same thing, right? And there's quite a lot of people who might be going through the same circumstances, because this is life. And if you understand that timing is perfect for everything, time might equalize, it might solve some of your problems. And yet when you fail dismally. You always stick to that mindset of just struggling simply because you are in an abnormal circumstances. You feel truly weak. You don't really have this intention of really looking at whatever obstacle, whatever struggle you're struggling with from a different angle. Because when you look at whatever struggle from a different angle, it loses control over you. You fail. You never really have this mindset of thinking of being so selfish and being asking why me. This is nature. Death, divorce, everything. It's just part of nature, right? So you don't necessarily have to be truly struggling in quite a lot of things. Yes, those are traumatic situations, but this is life. At the end of the day, it is existence. Such things are bound to happen. So it is very important for you to understand that if you're just unhappy about anything, you should be truly intentional about finding different ways to look into that obstacle, to look into that challenge, to look into that circumstance differently. Because when you look at that challenge differently, it loses control over you. You stop being selfish and asking why me kind of questions, right? So this is a very powerful technique. Number 7, be present with life's engagements, right? It is very important for you to be truly intentional about fully immersing yourself in the eternity of that moment. In this conversation, be fully present in this conversation with me. Just stick your awareness in this conversation so that you could just get the most out of this entire experience itself. That applies to everything you do. You go to a shower, you're just fully present in that shower. You just engage with the stimulus. You just fully experience the dopamine surge of being in the shower in such a warm environment. You just fully be present in your life's encounters, because really the truth is that you don't really know whether you will be alive tomorrow, right? So just take every second with all your heart and just pour in yourself throughout the entire engagements towards any pursuit towards existence itself. That is how you could build truly rich experiences towards life, because now you're not impulsive, right? Your mindset is just fully in the present and is not necessarily tied to figure out what has to happen next, right? You struggle less with stress, anxiety, and depression, simply because you are just intentional about being fully present in your circumstances. You're just fully present with your conscious mind, that which is before your eyes, your ears, for that particular moment. You're just truly intentional about living that life. So once you understand that it is important for you to be truly intentional about engaging with the present moment, then you could just get the most out of life, really. You're just fully present. When you decide to go on a vacation, you're just fully present in that vacation. You're not stressing about what if this happens or whatever. You're just fully present because you're truly intentional about living into that moment and taking it with all your heart, with all your energy, with all your might. Just this intention of really embracing the present moment will just deeply transform your life to a greater extent. You will struggle less in quite a lot of things, in quite a lot of regrets, in quite a lot of mistakes, simply because you have this intent to be fully present in all your encounters. So when you decide to go back to school, you have this intent of learning the ability to be fully present. Therefore, when you open your book, you will be able to try to concentrate, to try to focus, because you're just intentional about fully embracing each and every moment. That's how you build rich experiences towards existence itself. So it is such a beautiful way to live, really, the ability to be fully present with your engagements, with the people you love. You give them your undivided attention. When you talk to the people you love, the people you respect, you put away your cell phone and you listen very intentionally to such people. That is such a beautiful way to live, really, the ability to be truly present in all your life's engagements. So if this is a very powerful technique, really, it will completely transform your life for the good, and you should be truly intentional about applying it to your life so that you could just get the most out of life and just be fully present and just appreciate every moment of existence, every moment of your existence. And when you wake up tomorrow, you could just be like, what a beautiful way to have lived, simply because you were fully present in your in your life encounters. You were not impulsive. You never lived your life from an autopilot. You're just fully present. You're not anxious of what the future, you're not anxious about the outcomes in any pursuit, but you just fully focus on the process itself. Number 8 says that turn off all notifications on your device, right? So the ability to turn off your notifications from your device will help you to understand that when you want to go through a WhatsApp, you go straight to WhatsApp because you're just truly intentional about going there, right? So this therefore eliminates chances of being distracted in the things that you're supposed to do, right? Because you've turned off all notifications on for social media accounts and quite a lot of things. You're just truly intentional about going there, and therefore you would never have to struggle on phantom vibration syndrome and just thinking that your phone is ringing and yet it's not even ringing, simply because you're just used to having a cell phone. So it is truly important for you to understand that you should understand that you should turn off all your notifications on your cell phone device, so that you could just be truly intentional about you going there, and you're not necessarily have this urge of going on social media every now and then, because your mind will always be distracted now, because you can't focus on the things you're supposed to do, simply because you struggle very deeply in handling social media itself. So it is important in your pursuit to engaging better with the everyday life that you turn off all your notifications on your cell phone device, and you actually go there when you have to, because the reality is that if someone does need you urgently, they might have to call you, they might have to whatever, but the most important part is that when you do all your physical type of things, you're just fully present with them, and you're not necessarily distracted by your cell phone at the end of the day. That is where this entire techniques works and helps best, because now you're fully present with the stuff that you do, and you never really get distracted in quite a lot of things simply because of WhatsApp and quite a lot of things. So you're just intentional on how you use your cell phone itself. So your cell phone, you can use it really to leverage to the things you're supposed to use to do, right? But it is not really much of a distracting mechanism in your pursuit towards engaging better with the everyday life. So number 9 says engage in lower levels of stimulation, right? So by this I mean that you should try to be more of an introvert, because when you try to spend more time by yourself, there's a bigger chance, there's a bigger probability that you could be more creative. You could always tap into the inner creative within you. You could actually be able to manifest some of truly beautiful stuff in your life. You could be able to think through about your life itself. So you should be truly intentional about really engaging with other people, the things you want to say. Just have this intention of saying less, when it comes to talking, because when you say less, you don't have this intent or this constant urge of always stimulating yourself, because you always take too much from yourself. You can actually reserve all that energy to spend more time by yourself, and that part of yourself where you could be by yourself, spend some of your time by yourself, it means that you could be creative as a person. It means that you could be able to manifest some of truly beautiful stuff in your pursuit towards existence itself, right? And by this I also mean that we should try to engage in lower levels of stimulation in general, right? Where even when it comes to social media and everything, you don't always allow your brain to be constantly just all over social media every now and then, right? You should just be truly intentional about engaging in lower levels of stimulation, because when you engage in lower levels of stimulation, your brain can think, you have more time to tap into the inner creative within you. You can do quite a lot of things. You can think, you can just be able to manifest some of truly the most beautiful stuff in your life, right? So it is very important for you to engage in lower levels of stimulation, to just be able to sit and do nothing. You just fully immerse yourself in that moment and refuse to actually do anything. You should be truly intentional about engaging in lower levels of stimulation. You don't necessarily always have to pour out from other people. Yes, you can pour out when it is not that time where you should be conversing and engaging beautifully so, but you should be truly intentional about spending some time with yourself as a person. So science, there is research that has been shown that people who spend most of their time by themselves, they actually get to be more creative. Those are the people who actually become problem solvers in our society, because they spend more time in that imaginary world, and their life itself is pursued in a way that tries to really, it goes as close as possible to that imaginary situations they have, the imaginary circumstances they have, so therefore they could be able to manifest the life that they want, right? So just an example. Elon Musk himself, that guy is an introvert. He's someone who will never say anything unnecessarily, right? So, and at the end of the day, he wasn't really even smart at school, right? So when you can be able to be truly intentional about engaging in lower levels of stimulation and just fully focusing on the things that you're supposed to be doing as a person, beautifully so, and just this intent towards any pursuit, towards social media, towards engaging with others, will truly free you in quite a lot of things, because it'll, at the end of the day, it will give you so much privilege of really the ability to manifest the life that you want for yourself. And I also look in quite a lot of people who are truly successful. They are not so much of introverts. They are more of people who can just keep to themselves and they focus on that which is before them. Ngaphandle kokuphapha or ukuba isiphithephethe, right? Number 10 says that embrace digital minimalism, right? So digital minimalism is this intent to really use technology less, just this intention to use social media less without necessarily becoming a slave, struggling towards social media itself. No, it is really the ability to understand that you want to leverage technology itself to get the most out of it. So therefore, you use it when it's needed. You use it when it's necessary. You go to social media, you go to the internet only when it's necessary, and you want to do whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing, right? So that is how you embrace digital minimalism. It is really the ability to understand that social media is there, internet is there to leverage your imagination, to leverage whatever illusions you have about life itself, to be able to manifest those things, to manifest the life that you want at the end of the day, right? Without really struggling to become a slave of such. So, but at the end of the day, it is just this beautiful life of really the intent to be fully present with your physical circumstances, right? With all your circumstances that are before your conscious mind. It is just that intent of really being fully present with your life without really struggling and depending your happiness or this constant dopamine surge on social media alone. You understand that you need a balance towards existence itself. You need social media to do quite a lot of things to leverage your life, but it is very important, it is very crucial for you to understand that using technology less will help you become truly present in your physical circumstances, and therefore you struggle less because at the end of the day your mind is stimulated less. It doesn't necessarily get stimulated unnecessarily because you do the things that you're supposed to be doing on social media and not necessarily being busy there checking on crap and doing quite a lot of things. So just digital minimalism is the ability to use digital space more intentionally, just knowing that you get there, you do whatever you wanted to do, and then you get out. Just that intent to minimize on the use of technology itself. It is such a beautiful way to live. It is such a beautiful and a truly rewarding way to live because you're just fully present with your circumstances. You're just fully present with the things that you're supposed to be doing as a person, physically so, right? And when you get onto social media, you do the things that you're supposed to be doing, right? And not necessarily becoming a slave, running after quite a lot of things that are just unnecessary, which won't serve you at the end of the day. But anyway, I truly and deeply thank you for joining me in this beautiful conversation today. I hope that it was truly rewarding and fulfilling, and I hope that going forward in your life you would want to understand that you should just be more intentional about engaging better with the everyday life, because life, it is just a constant learning process and we should just embrace it. I deeply and truly thank you so much.